I recently decided that I needed to make a big change here in my home recording studio when it comes to the acoustic treatment that I'm using. I want to make this space better for mixing, better for recording, better for mastering, and there are a few glaring problems in this room that I always have to mix around. Now, I'm basically happy with what's going on with like my Monday music videos coming out. I'm pretty happy. Those are one-day mixes, and in general, I think they're pretty good examples of how good GarageBand can be. Some are better than others. I wanted to talk to you guys today about acoustic treatment and give you some real information from someone who has been through over 30 years in the home recording studio, professional recording studio, all kinds of studios world. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I've tried everything from the crappiest stuff that I had laying around in the house to the most expensive panels that money can buy. I've used it all, I've heard it all, I've tried it all, okay? So I wanted to talk to you guys because I've seen a couple of videos that have come out on YouTube that are just wrong. They're just flat out wrong, and it really annoys me that these guys with no experience and huge bank accounts are making videos and misinforming you guys about things like the Amazon foam, or just, you know, foam that you get out of a box, or a towel, or a blanket, you know. These guys really annoy me when they're like, don't buy the foam, you gotta buy those big expensive panels and make holes in your walls and do all this stuff. It's just not true, you guys. Just don't listen to those guys. I get it. You don't have a lot of money. Neither do I. I can't afford everything. Neither can you, right? This is the reality. So let's talk about what you really need in your home recording studio, okay? So the very first thing that I need to say when it comes to treatment is you do not want to completely deaden your room, okay? That is a big no, 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 no. Don't do that, okay? What happens when you do that is you shred all the high end out of your room. You shred all the low end out of your room. So your mixes are just gonna be so weird. And even when you start yanking too much high end out of a room, that will do weird things to the low end and all this kind of stuff. So first off, no, stop completely deadening your rooms. You don't wanna do that. What you are trying to do is eliminate the reflective surfaces, right? Any parallel surfaces. You're trying to eliminate as many of them as you need to, okay? You don't want this dead sounding space. You need a little bit of high end in the room. You need a little bit of low end in the room. But what you're trying to do is actually control that high end, low end in a manner that is working for your specific space. Now, these panels that you see up behind me, I bought them off of Craigslist from some studio like years and years ago. I couldn't even tell you what kind of foam it is. It's probably a notch up from that Amazon foam, but a notch below the Oralex foam. But it totally works. This stuff that you see on the walls, these and like those like 1 foot panels, are designed specifically for removing high end, okay? Now, these guys right behind me, these are bass traps. These are the super cheap ones. I got a 4-pack, I think it was like $20 or $25 or something from Amazon. I know that they're not the best. I know that they're not really dense like I'd like them to be. Yes, they are the Porous Foam. Oh, poor me. But I do know that they work because I've been in other people's studios that have set these up, and it was like, oh, they actually did make a difference, and it was nice. Sometimes you don't need the heaviest foam. It's true. Sometimes you just don't need the heaviest stuff. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of reduction, which is what I think is going on up at, in my ceiling wall area right behind my screen. That's what these are for. I got 4 of these. I'm just going to line them up there. No big deal. But however, low end is something that I don't think a lot of you guys are dealing with when it comes to your acoustic treatment. So again, bass traps look like this. They're big and thick. The more dense they are, the more effective they're going to be, of course, right? You're talking about bass sound waves or low end waves, they will penetrate tons of stuff. They're big, long waves. They will go through this lightweight foam up here, like they don't even care. These guys do like the short waves, or these guys will swallow up those short waves. All of the shapes on it are designed to diffuse that sound as it's getting reflected back to you, but they do work. So these guys up here, high end, this guy right here, low end. But again, low end is something I don't see a lot of you guys treating for in your spaces. So just, there's lots of good information on, like, look at Recording Magazine. Obviously, I've started writing for Recording Magazines now, so I have been reading a lot of stuff over there, and they've totally talked about the foam and how good it can be if you're on a budget. Hey guys, sorry to break up the party. I was sitting here editing the video and realized, oh no, I left out two things I wanted to talk about. So really quickly, first thing is that you can go around and determine the problems in your room just by simply listening to the spaces, right? So put your ear up against the wall, listen to it, listen to it like this distance, go into the corners, listen for the low end in the corners, get on a chair or a ladder, go up and listen to what's going on up there between your wall and your ceiling. Those are spaces you need to be listening to, especially around your exact mixing location. Now, when it comes to actually placing the pads where they need to be, there's a really good trick that you can do with a friend that needs a mirror. You will sit in your mixing position. You will sit right where you normally sit when you mix. Spin around, look at the opposite wall. Have a friend take a mirror and run it up and down all the walls. Anytime you see a monitor in that mirror, put a pad in that location, right? He'll slide it along. You won't see the monitor, won't see it. Boom, the monitor's in the mirror. Boom, you want a pad right there. Really easy thing to do. You do need a friend, you do need a mirror, but it totally works because light waves and sound waves in the respective directionality are very similar. So anyway, back to the regular video. Now, of course, Auralex, if you're gonna go all out, get the Auralex stuff. If you wanna spend gobs and gobs of money on foam, the best foam that you can buy, in my opinion, is the Auralex foam. I don't even have any Auralex foam. No, that's not true. I have the Auralex pads under my monitors, which we will talk about in a little bit. But I have bought one of those ruminator kits like long time ago in one of my first studios. I had a huge ruminator kit, which was very expensive at the time, and it was really good. It totally worked. And that was with like Mexican tiled floors and stuff. I mean, that room was live as live could be, but it was an awesome space. Anyway, so high-end stuff, low-end stuff. We've talked about that. Now, those monitor pads that go under your monitors, I want to address this because I watched a video where, well, I've seen a couple of videos where guys, I just think they don't really understand what they actually do compared to what the company claims, okay? So I think that I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think there's a claim on the Auralex website that says that those pads that go under your monitors are gonna make your monitors sound better. And I think maybe people are misinterpreting that information. So yeah, they're not really gonna make your monitors sound like more expensive monitors, okay? I get that. However, what they are going to do is reduce the amount of vibrations leaving the cabinet of that monitor, passing into the tabletop that you might be, that they're sitting on, vibrating that tabletop, and then it might even be like going through your table or your speaker stands down into your neighbor's place, and all they get to hear is boom, 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 like all they hear is low end, right? So those pads totally do work. They don't make your monitors sound better, but they do isolate your monitors from the surfaces that they're sitting on. To anybody out there who thinks that they don't work at all, you're wrong. They totally do work. I mean, feel the surface of the desk with and without them, and then come back and tell me, no, it's vibrating the same. If you think it's vibrating the same, something's wrong with you, okay? Flat out. That's not what's happening. I do it, I have them, and they work. The other thing I want to talk about is the cheapest of the cheap options, right? So I've used towels, I've used blankets, I've used packing blankets, I've used like those blue ones, and then the really like, looks like lint or something. I've used everything. It all works at varying degrees. So don't be afraid of just hanging up a couple of blankets around you, but do understand that the idea is canceling out as many parallel surfaces as you need to, not as many as you can, okay? You want some high end, you do want some low end, but you want to control those things as best as you can. Now, things like the room correction software, I have tried. I'm sort of on the fence if it's good or not. There's sort of a mixed opinion. I think in certain places it could be really effective. In this particular space right here, it didn't seem to make a huge difference to me. I also just sort of felt like I'm just slapping another EQ and I'm mixing through a different EQ, which was a little weird. But anyway, I think they have a time and a place where they are effective. So do some research if you're curious about those like room analyzing programs that come with the microphones and you do all the measurements and all that kind of stuff. But basically, you guys, listen, we're all on a budget, most of us are on a budget, and we're just trying to make good sounding home recordings. You can do it with that Amazon foam, okay? Just don't listen to those people who say it sucks. It's not great, no, it's not the best, I get it, but it does work. If you're on a budget, get it. It's gonna do something. It will work. There is also a ton of information online about where they should be set up, how it should be set up. Should it be on your ceiling? Where on your ceiling should it be? So it depends on your space. I can't really give you like exact dimensions or anything, but for me, I'll tell you this. I am going to really try to work on the space that I sit and mix in, right? My mixing location, that is the space that I'm really gonna focus on. I'm not gonna deal so much with this back wall because, I mean, it might get a panel or two, but my biggest concerns are the corners where there's tons of low end coming out of. I have a window behind my monitors, which is not great, right? So my high end is always sort of a challenge for me. But I have some serious low end issues to deal with. The high end in here is pretty decent. I think you guys can hear, I'm just using a condenser microphone. This is the Caddy 100S. It's turned up pretty loudly, and I think you can hear that the high end in my room isn't super slappy, right? I don't have a ton of it. It does exist, but again, that's good. I want my acoustic guitars to have some high end when I'm playing them. I want my voice to have high end when I'm singing, right? And on the other end, I want my bass tone to have some high end. So I don't want to always just eliminate all of it from my space. So you guys, I hope that this helps a little bit. If you have any questions, please find me on Instagram, Facebook, or of course leave comments below here. I answer every comment that I possibly can. The flat out deal is if you get an answer, it's because I have an answer. If you don't, I don't, right? Pretty easy. Also, there's probably videos popping up around my head at this point, which nobody ever clicks on. So if you're feeling like, hey, I got an extra 5-10 minutes or whatever, click on one of these videos, check it out. Want to hit that subscribe button? That would be awesome. It's really fun here over on GarageBand and Beyond. I make videos all the time that are informative. I'm trying to help you guys make the best sounding recordings you can at home for the least amount of money, and because you can do that, you guys. And GarageBand is awesome. So that's it. Have a great day. Peace.